You were supposed to sleep 2 hours ago, but instead, you're replaying a conversation from 3 days ago, editing what you should have said, running 17 different versions of tomorrow, asking yourself questions that have no answers. And the worst part? You've been told your whole life, you think too much, just relax. Stop overcomplicating everything. But what if they were wrong? What if the thing everyone told you was your problem is actually your greatest strength? Today we're going to talk about why science now believes that overthinkers are some of the most intelligently wired humans on the planet. If your mind never stops, stay with me, because this video is going to change how you see yourself completely. First, let's destroy the myth. Overthinking is not a thinking disorder. It is not anxiety in disguise. It is not weakness. Overthinking at its core is hyperconnective thinking. Your brain doesn't process one thought at a time. It processes everything simultaneously, pulling in past experiences, future possibilities, emotional data, pattern recognition all at once, all the time, without being asked. A 2015 study from King's College London found that people who score high on rumination and reflection, the two core components of overthinking, also score significantly higher on measures of verbal intelligence, emotional intelligence, and creative problem solving. In other words, the same brain that keeps you up at 3 a.m. is the same brain that sees solutions others miss, feels connections others can't feel, understands people on a level that surprises even you sometimes. You were never thinking too much. You were thinking at a frequency most people simply can't access. There are 4 specific signs that your overthinking isn't a problem. It's a gift, operating without instructions. Sign 1, you think in scenarios, not conclusions. Average thinkers reach a conclusion and stop. Overthinkers reach a conclusion and then immediately ask, but what if that's wrong? What happens next? What am I not seeing? This isn't doubt. This is strategic foresight, the same cognitive pattern found in chess grandmasters, emergency room doctors, and elite military strategists. Your brain is running simulations. That is not a problem. That is a superpower without a name. Sign 2. You remember emotional details nobody else notices. Overthinkers don't just remember what happened. They remember how everything felt. The exact expression on someone's face. The shift in someone's tone. The moment the energy in a room changed. Psychologists call this episodic emotional memory, and it is directly linked to high empathy and social intelligence. You notice things. You always have, and most of the time, you were right. Sign 3. You find it hard to enjoy things without analyzing them. A song comes on, and instead of just listening, you're thinking about the chord progression, the meaning behind the lyrics, why this particular melody makes you feel something specific. This is called aesthetic cognitive processing, and it is a hallmark trait of highly creative and deeply intelligent minds. You can't turn it off because it's not a switch. It's how your brain is built. Sign 4, you apologize too much. This one surprises people. But overthinkers replay social interactions so thoroughly, they almost always find something they could have done better, something they said that might have landed wrong, a moment where they weren't enough. This constant social recalibration is exhausting, but it also makes overthinkers some of the most emotionally considerate people in any room. You don't apologize because you're weak. You apologize because you care more than most people know how to. Now, I am not going to pretend that this gift has no cost, because it does. And if I don't talk about it, this video isn't honest. The same mind that processes everything deeply also processes pain deeply. A careless comment that someone else forgets in an hour, you carry for days. A decision that other people make in 5 minutes takes you 5 days. Because you're not just deciding, you're feeling every possible outcome, living every scenario, grieving the paths you didn't take before you've even chosen. And relationships. Relationships are complicated for overthinkers because you love with the same intensity you think, which means you also worry with that intensity. You notice when something is slightly off before the other person even knows it themselves. And sometimes you push people away by seeing them more clearly than they've ever seen themselves. Dr. Susan Nolan-Hoeksema, one of the leading researchers on rumination at Yale University, spent decades studying overthinkers. Her conclusion? The very same cognitive pattern that creates suffering in overthinkers is inseparable from the pattern that creates their greatest insights. You cannot have one without the other. The depth that hurts you is the same depth that makes you extraordinary. Here is something that might reframe everything. History's most transformative minds were, by every account, compulsive overthinkers. Charles Darwin reportedly spent 20 years overthinking his theory of evolution before publishing it, running every counter-argument, every flaw, every possible objection through his mind before he felt ready. That 20 years of overthinking changed how humanity understands life itself. Nikola Tesla described his mind as a machine he couldn't turn off, constantly generating, simulating, rebuilding ideas in his head with such intensity that he rarely slept. He didn't call it a gift, he called it a burden. but that burden gave the world alternating current electricity. Closer to today, research by psychologist Adam Grant at Wharton found that the most innovative thinkers in business share one consistent trait. They delay decisions longer than their peers. They sit with uncertainty. They run more scenarios. They overthink, and they produce better outcomes because of it. You are not behind because you think too much. You are building something that takes longer to construct because it is built better than most people's ever will be. So what do you actually do with a mind like this? Not how do you quiet it, but how do you use it? First, give your overthinking a direction. An undirected, overthinking mind is like a river with no banks. It floods everything. But a directed mind, given a specific problem to solve, a specific question to answer, is one of the most powerful thinking instruments that exists. When you feel your mind spiraling, ask it a question. Not what if everything goes wrong, but what is the one thing I can do today that would move this forward? Redirect the current. Don't dam it. Second, right before you sleep. Not journaling, not reflection. Just every thought currently running in your head. Write it down in whatever order it comes. Research from the University of Baylor found that people who write a specific to-do list of upcoming tasks before bed fall asleep significantly faster because the brain stops cycling through those thoughts once it believes they've been captured somewhere safe. Your mind isn't keeping you awake to torture you. It's keeping you awake because it doesn't trust that you'll remember. Give it somewhere to put things. It will let you rest. Third, stop apologizing for your depth. The right people in your life will not find your mind exhausting. They will find it fascinating. You have spent years editing yourself down to a size that felt safer for other people. You don't have to do that anymore. If this video felt like someone looked directly at you, share it with one person in your life who has been told they're too much, too sensitive, too complicated. And if you want to understand more about the way your mind works, watch the next video.